on the season, looking for a fourth. Stanford will serve first. Elena Ogilvie, the libero. Audrey Koenig takes the first swing, and Stanford can't dig it out of the scorer's table. Point for the Noles.
Good start for Florida State. They're able to pass that ball, and because their middle is so respected, there was an isolated hitter on the left side, one-on-one.
Audrey Koenig, a Florida native, the co-ACC Player of the Year last year. She's led this team in kills the last 2 seasons. Also plays on the beach team here at Florida State. Elia Rubin with the tip. Seminoles save it. Cami Miner back to Rubin down the line.
Cami Miner hesitates on her contact, and it holds the middle blocker, isolating Elia Rubin on that left pin going down that line. Good start for Rubin.
2-time All Pac-12 selection is Elia Rubin. Last 3 matches averaging over almost 3.5 kills per set. Taylor Head with the off speed. Back to Rubin, blocked by Koenig. Rubin a little bit more on it, and a net violation on Stanford gives the point to Florida State.
Stanford looking around, not sure what was called.
The up official signaled towards the net.
Elia Rubin showed her coach, yes, she did net. Florida State ball. Stanford has been pin heavy so far. They haven't got their middles going. I know it's early, but on good first contact, get Tammy Francis, who's been the hot hitter, going.
So Lauren Robinson subs in. Florida State will run a 6-2, meaning they use 2 different setters, and an ace right off the bat for the transfer from Memphis.
That serve was what we call clean, flat and clean, had nice pace, and the bottom just dropped out.
They needed a grad setter. Were able to find Lauren Robinson in the portal, and that's allowed them to run this 6-2 offense, which they think gives them the best chance to win in the ACC. Taylor Head with the kill.
Taylor Head so good in transition, hitting that flat ball out to the pin. She gets on top of it quick. You see how flat and fast that ball is out to the pin, and there's area to work between the 2 Stanford blockers.
Speaking of the transfer portal, that was a big get for Florida State too. Taylor Head coming in from Arkansas. Elia Rubin right to the Terraflex.
Watch this ball in Cami Miner's hand. She has a little hesitation, and that really holds the middle blocker, getting Elia Rubin one-on-one on the left side.
She is so key to Stanford's success, and Kevin Hambley told us she puts a lot of pressure on herself. Rubin will take the set to Ipar Kurt. Just sneaks it through that Florida State block.
Ipar Kurt for Stanford does a really nice job getting her feet to that ball, getting prepared to joust and win it for Stanford.
When you watch Stanford play, when are they at their best? What does it look like?
One, they're serving really aggressive and putting all sorts of pressure on their opponents, and that's when their defense thrives, because Cami Miner can run so many balls in transition to set them up to score.
Service error there, and that's something that Stanford is okay with. They will live with a lot of service errors because they want to be aggressive every time. Koenig going after Rubin. Kurt down the line, dug up by Robertson. This will be a free ball back to Florida State. Robertson out to Taylor Head. Ogilvie with the dig. Second free ball to the Noles. Into the middle with Lewis. Kurt. And a net violation on Florida State. It's a point for the Cardinal. You know, Kevin Hambley told us before this match, they're still trying to figure out the travel piece of this, coming all the way over across the country. First year in the ACC.
If you look at Stanford's record, all their losses have been on the road. They've been really good at home, but yes, figuring out those extra miles, those long trips, and how to acclimate.
Not using it as an excuse at all, just trying to adapt to their situation. Kurt coming in for the swing. Miner backside was trying to run Lizzie Andrew off of 1 foot, but Florida State's block knew it. See Chris Poole leading the Florida State program for the 17th season. He is second among active head coaches in wins. That's an overpass. Kylene Filimawa knew it. And he told us they felt like the 6-2 was the way they could win in the ACC. Why is that effective for them?
They have two small setters at Florida State, and they need a big presence on the right side blocking. So having a right side blocker and your setter set out of the back row gives them the best advantage defensively.
Jordan Harvey back row attack. Hinkie tooling the block.
So far, so good for Florida State. I like the start. They're serving very aggressive. They've been able to shut down the slide of Stanford. And then a transition ball to the right side, just tooling the block.
Cami Minor, she will get aggressive. You have got to pay attention to her.
Florida State needs to call out front row setter because Cami Minor is an offensive-minded setter, and perfect pass sets her up for that, and neither of the blockers for Florida State had their hands up.
It's her 41st kill this season. Pretty good amount for a setter. Robertson going backside with Corey Lewis on the slide, and the block keeps it inbounds, point Stanford.
Lizzie Andrew, a true freshman for Stanford in the middle, does a really nice job, number 11 in white. She's long, but it's her inside hand that she drops really well to shut that ball down.
And blocking's improved for Stanford.
That's the biggest area of improvement, according to Kevin Hambler.
Robertson back to Filimawa, a player that has played, feels like every position except setter on the court.
Filimawa is special, number 12 for Florida State, but she's had to be that libero for a lot of the season and last because of an injury to Emery Dupes, their existing libero, but she's got a big arm, and Chris Poole said, look, she blows us up at practice. We need to get her on the court offensively.
Yeah, she tied her career high in their last match against Cal with 14 kills. Jordan Harvey swinging on the left side in this rotation. Gonna feel in going backside to Hinkie. Harvey. Hinkie down the line, easy for Ogilvy. And that one goes long on Lizzie Andrew.
Long rally, and Stanford wants to run that middle in transition. Lizzie Andrew just didn't get on top of it for Stanford.
Not an easy task to be a true freshman, come in and start at middle blocker.
Especially in an elite program, it's an even bigger challenge because you're playing the best teams in the country and there's high expectations. People want to attack you.
Kill for Jordan Harvey. Her first today. Florida State leading here in the first set, 10-7. We'll play to 25. They were wiping up a wet spot on the court, so now we're ready to go. Kurt behind the service line. Koenig takes the swing. Harvey on the right side. Koenig is going to set up Filimawa, and she gets blocked by Stanford.
When Stanford's out of system, they're attacking. Even if it's an off-speed shot, they're going to the right back defender, which is the setter. So that makes another player step in and set the ball a little tight there, and Stanford's block takes advantage.
We're going for Kenneth Phelan, who's the setter right now, number 7 in the garnet jersey. And Stanford coming over the plane of the net, not giving Florida State a chance to set that ball. Florida State's won 5 of its last 6 matches. They picked up their first preseason ranking since 2017, starting the year at 20th. Now they're 23rd. One-handed save from Taylor Head, and we play on! To the back line, Harvey, but my goodness, Taylor Head.
Love the hustle by Florida State, but I'll tell you, the explosive attack from Jordan Harvey on the right side. Look at Taylor Head all out to bring it back. And then on the free ball, Cami Miner goes right back to Harvey on that right side, who just crushes it.
Coming back over. Elliot Rubin takes a deep breath. The look on her face after that little miss hit, but still gets the kill.
Stanford able to serve tough, get that overpass, and score. They need a lot more of the tough serving to get this team out of system.
Close as it's been since it was 2-1. Mawa underneath it. And Hinke just swiping it off that solo block in front of her.
Notice we haven't called the middles for Florida State. They have not been able to get anything going offensively. And usually this is a Florida State team and program who likes to run their offense through the middle first.
But keep in mind too, it's the younger middle out there right now, and Kelsey Perry, number 3 for Florida State. Just a redshirt sophomore, spent 2 seasons at Iowa State, but redshirted last year. They were hoping that they could use this year to train her, but they had a middle transfer out.
Sammy Francis getting things going in the middle for Stanford in transition. Would love to see more middle from Stanford.
Stanford kind of has the same mix-up of middles as Florida State does. The older, experienced middle in Sammy Francis, and then the freshman middle in Lizzie Andrew. Francis out there now, number 17 in white. Roll shot from Rubin, dug by Phelan. Head down the line, out, point Stanford. First lead for the Cardinal.
Taylor Head gets to this ball and crushes it. That is in down the line over the head of Harvey.
That is something they can challenge, but Chris Poole has not pulled the green challenge card.
Florida State players telling their coach, please challenge that ball, and he does.
So this is the first time that either team is challenged. You get 2 challenges per match. If you're correct in that challenge, you get to keep it. And from the angle that we just saw,
original call, ball out, point Stanford. Florida State is challenging that the ball was in.
from the look that we showed you first, it looked in.
It was. I think this will be a quick reversal. Yeah. Looks like Stanford's giving Taylor Head that line, and then she just goes deep enough to find open court.
After review, ball was in. Call will be reversed. Ball point to Florida State.
And Florida State gets to keep that challenge. What a get bringing over Taylor Head from Arkansas, and she helped make history at Arkansas last year, taking that program to the round of 8. They were able to defeat Kentucky in the round of 16 before they faced Nebraska.
Taylor Head did something special with Jill Gill over at Arkansas to be able to bring that veteran leadership. She's been in an elite program and trying to do that again with Florida State in her last year.
She's an undersized outside hitter, something that Arkansas has no problem with. She went out there and proved everybody what she could do, and then looking for a change after she graduated, came and wanted to play beach here and a chance to play indoor.
We saw Taylor Head playing for the beach volleyball program at Gulf Shores, the national championship. Looks like something's going on with Taylor Head's elbow. Not sure if there's blood.
Yeah, I think so. They were trying to get it off of her sleeve, and now they'll just wrap it up. That is her attacking arm, too. Yeah, you see her trying to feel out the tape. A third-team All-American last season, 4 seasons at Arkansas. She was the 2020 SEC Freshman of the Year. And Chris Poole told us what a positive player they've injected into their roster.
Positivity in between points, and obviously she's been there. Nothing phases her, and that really helps this young team.
Might help, too, that she's got her elbow taped up. Hopefully that doesn't phase her. Emery Dupes with a nice save there. The libero from Florida State. Cami Miner getting tricky.
Cami Minor has established her offense, and that's going to help her hitters around her, but Florida State needs to do a better job. Middle blocker's hands were late. Corey Lewis in front of Cami Minor when she's in the front row.
Cami Minor, coming out of high school, is the #4 overall recruit. She's a 2-time first-team All-American and a 2-time Pac-12 Setter of the Year, as that one sails on Elia Rubin. Service error for Florida State. Maua from the right side.
Florida State ran a stack on the left side, and it paid off with the right side attack. 15-14, Florida State up in the first.
You know what's better than one Papa John's pizza? Two Papa John's pizza for only $6.99 each.
Only at Papa John's, bundle 2 or more Papa Pairings menu items for $6.99 each. Get your favorites for $6.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some Papa John's.
Join Bet365 today and get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She supported his disastrous economic agenda, higher taxes on the middle class. Kamala backed his open border policies, and their weakness invited wars. Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
Come seek the Royal Caribbean.
While Trump cuts taxes for billionaires, Kamala Harris will cut them for you.
Or not, the college basketball season tips off Monday with our second annual We Play women's event in Paris, France. Number 20 Ole Miss taking on Juju Watkins and number 3 USC. And then number 17 Louisville facing number 5 at UCLA over on ESPN2. That starts at noon on Monday. It's not overseas exactly, but the miles that Stanford has traveled from Maples Pavilion, really interesting how they're trying to balance all this new travel in a new conference.
Stanford's still trying to figure it out, but it's been challenging, and especially playing in the ACC, a lot more travel than in previous years.
Right now, the theme has been getting as much sleep as possible, seeing how the players respond to that. Tight first set here between Florida State and Stanford, just the second meeting all time between these two programs.
Ipar Kurt, number 15 in white, really nice decision to go flat high off the hands for a point. That's an indefensible ball because it goes over that middle back defender.
And it ties this set up for the 5th time. They go after Maua. Hinkie on the left side. Kurt just tips it over and drops it onto the court.
It starts with the dig by Elena Ogilvy. She is elite. Number 9, the libero for Stanford. Watch her step into that angle, lift it, and that allows Cami Minor to run this little rip set to Ipar Kurt a little bit inside.
Tip by Corey Lewis. Kurt chasing it. Knotted again at 16.
Another tight transition set to Ipar Kurt. Tries to go high hand, just missing it long.
Redshirt freshman out of Istanbul, Turkey, redshirted last season. Has played with the U21 Turkish national team. Right side gets the kill.
Stanford relentless against that right back defender. Both the setters playing in that spot. So if they don't have a green light, go, let's rip this ball and find open floor, they're going consistently to that right back position.
How has Florida State handled that so far?
They've dug some, but lost some as well, and that forces another player to come in and set, which is what Stanford wants.
Right to the donut, and Kevin Hambley is saying that she was above the plane of the net. She is a back row setter.
Kind of feeling she jumps at that ball, so she was pretty close. Kevin Hambley asking the down referee, Suzanne Lowry, how high does that ball need to be above the net to call it?
Not something you can challenge. Elia Rubin on cleanup duty. Let's go back to the last point. Remember, Florida State will always have a back row setter.
Watch her jump set this ball. She is up, in my opinion, close to the plane of the net where they can call that, borderline.
So because she's back row, she can't go over on top of the tape and attack?
Attack from in front of that 3 meter line.
Yeah.
Jana Hinke from Germany figuring out how to play right side, and she's been really good so far to start this match for Florida State. This is her first time ever swinging from the right.
They just wanted to get her on the court somewhere, and that's the opening they had. Harvey has a block, Taylor Head!
Watch Taylor Head, number 1 on the left side of your screen, just get all over that ball. This ball set a little bit inside. She goes, drops her right hand, seals that net.
We've seen her all-around game already here in set 1. Digs, swings, and now a block. 2 blocks, don't want a shorter one. Rubin with the punch.
Cami Miner made that transition set beautiful to Elia Rubin, and Elia Rubin finishes the job. But Cami Miner from way behind that 3 meter line, able to push it with pace.
9th time we have been tied here in set 1. Sweet angle from Taylor Head.
Taylor Head is dangerous because she gets on that ball so quick, and her set is faster than most players to the pin, which makes it tough to defend at the net.
I feel like she's got a big toolkit too, being undersized. She's learned how to use it.
When you're undersized, you have to have all the tools, and you have to be creative offensively.
Dribbler over the tape for an ace for Lauren Robertson. That forces Stanford to call a timeout. Florida State up 21-19.
Okay, guys, instead of getting WeatherTech, I saved a few bucks and got some cheap foreign-made floor mats. But they really stink, so put these on.
Ruby Berry, Mom, I'm thirsty. Don't settle for cheap, stinky floor mats. At WeatherTech, we make our floor liners and cargo liners here in America out of pure, non-toxic American materials.
Dad, next time get WeatherTech. They don't stink.
I'm on it.
Find out everything we have at WT.com.
Rising costs, selective coverage. For countless Americans, the complex specialty care they need is always felt just out of reach. At Evernorth, we give members unrivaled access to the most complex therapies at the best prices, while providing enhanced support like in-home nursing at no additional cost. That's wonder made possible. Evernorth Health Services.
Grad student Taylor Head for Florida State has had a fantastic start, getting kills on the left side in transition. Out of system, but finds an opening down the line. Watch this hustle play, turn and burn, keeps it alive, keeps Florida State in the play, and then a block stuff on the attack from Harvey.
Has over 1,700 kills in her career. Over 1,400 digs in her career. For Taylor Head, she's just 6 digs away from 1,500. And a service error out of the timeout for the Noles.
Looking at the statistics right now, Stanford hitting 303 and Florida State hitting 321. If you're Stanford, you do not want a team hitting over 300 against you. So I don't think they're doing enough to stop them defensively.
That happened to Stanford on Friday night. While Stanford hit over 300, so did Miami, and Miami ended up winning that 5-set match.
Audrey Koenig on the right side, number 4 for Florida State. We haven't been able to call her number too often. That's her 2nd kill only.
2nd kill on 5 swings today. Does have 3 digs. A race to 25 points here. You have to win by 2. Head flying in.
Taylor Head so good. She showed with her body she was going to crank that angle and then hammers it through the seam. Look, it looks like she's going to hit it sharp angle. Defense sets up and then she attacks the seam.
Florida State with a lot of confidence right now. They need 2 more points to win the opening set. Aces galore. 3 aces now for Florida State, and Kevin Hambley will use his final timeout of this set. You see Audrey Koenig's parents there, Kim and Chris, watching on. It's a pretty good serve from their daughter.
Incredible. Well, she can hurt you from anywhere. If she attacks out of the backcourt, she's got a really good serve. It's either a jump top or a jump float. In this case, really nice pace that disrupts Stanford's serve receive.
Audrey Koenig, a multi-sport athlete playing indoor and beach at Florida State. She was with the Threes last year at the NCAA Championships with the Florida State Beach program.
Brooke Niles-Lucena says nothing but incredible things about Audrey Koenig. She's played up and down the lineup, ending up at the threes, but she can really impact the match with her size at the net, especially in the sand.
Fun fact about Audrey, she was a big-time soccer player, was actually a goalkeeper for 10 years, and decided, you know what, I'm going to put soccer aside and I'm going to focus on volleyball. And Chris Poole and Brooke Niles are really glad that she did.
Florida State definitely lucky to have her on the court.
She hopes to go to medical school after volleyball to become an anesthesiologist. One of those names on the AVCA Player of the Year watch list. It's the first year they've put that watch list out. Set point Florida State with Koenig serving. Perfect pass, Semi Minor on the slide. Robertson outside to Taylor Head. A 4-0 run to end the set for the Seminoles.
Florida.
Kylene Filimawa on the serve. Rubin tracking it. No touch. Point Florida State.
Filimawa with the tough serve, getting Stanford out of system, and then a tough swing for Rubin on the left.
She was the Washington Gatorade Player of the Year out of high school and all ACC freshman team selection. Filimawa with a little set to Hinke. Roll shot from Rubin. And they're going to call a centerline violation on Florida State as a couple of players slid underneath the net trying to save that ball.
Elia Rubin, perfect topspin dropper. It got out, that hit the floor because it was just dropping so fast and the defense could not slide under it.
You know, that's something she's working on, is decision making. When to bust out what shot at what time. Service error. Here's Emery Dupes back in the libero jersey for the 15th match this season. She had a red shirt last year after an ACL injury. She was the first all-ACC freshman libero in FSU history, set the FSU freshman record for digs per set.
That ball caught the top of the tape going wide. The great thing about having Emery Dukes back for Florida State, that allows Fili Maua back on the court to blow up the other team offensively.
Instead of just doing it in practice. Chris Poole told us that she has lit them up. Jordan Harvey serving. Taylor Head through the block of Cami Minor, and she has got her 6th kill.
Stanford struggling to get their hands over the net quick enough to slow down Taylor Head. Every time their hands are late pressing over.
Taylor Head hitting .357. It's about 150 points higher than her season average. Dupe sends it back to Stanford. Cami Minor to Sammy Francis off of 1 foot.
Cami Minor's in the front row, and because she's established herself as an offensive weapon, the middle blocker stayed, and Sammy Francis got a one-on-one.
Sammy Francis coming off tying her season high with 14 kills, a match she hit .519. They go to Corey Lewis. Kurt, yes, to the floor.
Ipar Kurt, number 15 in white, had a really nice transition swing, but look how big this block is in front of her. Well formed, but that goes inside the block to that corner.
I used the redshirt year last year for Kurt to get her used to playing volleyball in the U.S. She was used to playing against older players because she played in the pros over in Turkey. Going for the Seminoles.
Ogilvy, full-time sprint to try and get that ball. I'd love to see her try and play that ball back into the court with her left hand instead of her right. Paintbrush kill down the line by Kurt. Timing was a little bit off, but she was able to stretch and get it.
Ipar Kurt now leading Stanford with 6 kills, just 1 attacking error. That puts her at .625 hitting percentage. Koenig out of the back row and into the tape.
Stanford attacking Audrey Koenig in serve receive, trying to make her uncomfortable, especially when she's in the back row. I would love to see Florida State set somebody else when she passes that ball.
Taylor Yu again sending Florida State scrambling with its serve.
Taylor Yu has a very aggressive serve, has a ton of pace, and it can be disruptive if you don't get your platform on the ball.
It's going to cause Chris Poole and Florida State to call a timeout. Stanford up by 4 here in set 2.
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual. Customize and save!
And then I wake up.
Is Limu with you in all your dreams?
Oh, yeah. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Join Bet365 today and get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She supported his disastrous economic agenda, higher taxes on the middle class. Kamala backed his open border policies, and their weakness invited wars. Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
This election is going to be one of the closest in history, and we are the underdogs, and we will win, but only if every single one of us votes. So please make your plan to vote today.
Who you vote for is private, but if you vote, it's public information. Vote on or by November 5th.
Election season is here. Remember, who you vote for is secret, but whether you vote is public information. After this election, your voting record will be updated, and your friends and family will be able to look up how often you vote. So vote on or by Tuesday, November 5th.
This Stanford volleyball program is at the top of the college volleyball world when it comes to history. 9 national titles, more than any other program. They've never missed an NCAA tournament, 42 straight appearances. And yeah, they've had some pretty good players. 10 national players of the year. That's more than anyone else. And 3 different head coaches have won multiple national titles, including their current head coach, Kevin Hambly.
Stanford year after year is an elite program and everybody knows it. So when they show up in a gym, the crowds come up to check them out.
Stanford last winning in 2018 and 2019, those national championships. Corey Lewis with the swing and the kill for the Seminoles.
Corey Lewis's first kill in this match. Florida State's only been able to get 4 balls to their middle. This is number 5, but she's dangerous. And if they can get her involved, they can create some space between Stanford and Florida State.
Are her limited touches because of the pass?
I feel like they've gone away. They've gone pin heavy, and in order to open up the pins, you've got to get Corey Lewis going.
Billy Maua taps it over. Cami Minor back to Jordan Harvey. She will take that. Stanford up by 4 after losing the opening set, 25-20. Back to Corey. Apart Kurt, 7 kills now.
Florida State going back-to-back attacks out of the middle. That time, Stanford comes up with the dig and transition kill, but still working to establish that middle to help open up the pins again.
And it obviously makes sense because Corey Lewis on the season hits over 400. Chris Pohl told us, we go as she goes. So her number's something to keep an eye on.
Kylene Fili-Maua, look at her get on top of that ball through the seam. Little hesitation. Lizzie Andrew trying to catch up with that ball and cannon. Fili-Maua just lights it up down the middle.
Kurt, blocked. Finally finding an answer for Apart Kurt.
Back-to-back plays from number 12 for Florida State, Fili-Maua. She has been impressive in all areas of the game. We've seen her play defense, transition set, a block, a kill.
Lizzie Andrew.
Stanford trying to get a ball to the middle as well. Lizzie Andrew one-on-one, using her length to find open court.
I've really watched her continue to grow and improve. Came in with a raw skill set, but ready to learn. Has had to learn quickly as a starter. Hinke. Kurt is there, free ball back to Florida State. Phelan going backside to Fili-Maua, but the block not giving any room for her to work. Okay, Elia Rubin.
As a pin blocker, it's your job to set up the block. Look at Elia Rubin get all over that ball. Lizzie Andrews there for the assist to close it up, but it's all about that right hand for Elia Rubin.
One-handed set. Rubin off the block. Dug by head. Back over. And Hinke waiting there to punch it.
Nice scramble on both sides of the net, but Hinke cleans it up for Florida State.
Janne Hinke out of Germany. Went and played beach and indoor at Cal State Los Angeles, was the D2 National Freshman of the Year on the indoor side. Jordan Harvey turning it.
Stanford running a double quick on the right side of the court for Stanford, left side of the defense for Florida State, creating some space for Harvey to go down that line.
Harvey just a sophomore. Elia Rubin's got something working on that block.
Elia Rubin is an elite player on the left side, and she really makes Stanford go. When she struggles, Stanford struggles. Watch again her setup, right on the ball, and then that right hand making sure that ball doesn't clear.
She already has 3 blocks in this match. Sammy Francis out of the middle. Feeling the bump set to AK, Audrey Koenig.
Stanford doing a really nice job loading up number 4, making her serve the ball, but in transition, she gets a clean kill sharp inside that 3-meter line for Florida State.
3 kills, 4 digs for Audrey Koenig. And they're wiping up some of the court on the Florida State side of the net. Francis with the tip. Wow, Elia Rubin.
Defense to transition offense for Stanford, and Elia Rubin, the recipient of a sweet set by Cami Minor out to that left side. Watch this defense, and then you see the pin getting right through that block for Florida State.
And I believe Chris Poole is challenging this play.
Original call was ball in. Florida State challenging that the ball was out.
Second time they've used a challenge today. They were correct in their first challenge.
Ball hits deep in the court, but well in. And for Florida State, they have a chance to slow things down and talk about it with their team while this challenge is looked at.
And their hitting percentage drastically different than what we saw in set 1 for Florida State. They hit 387, right now hitting 118 here in set 2.
4 errors, but it's been really about Stanford making some adjustments defensively. We saw Elia Rubin on the left side get a few blocks on Florida State, and that's really been a key to slowing down this hot Florida State offense.
Elia Rubin's got a full stat line right now. 6 kills, 2 assists, 2 digs, and 3 blocks.
Stanford's offensive numbers well above 300. They're at 368, and Florida State at 118.
So they're still looking at this challenge by Florida State. The ball was ruled in, and from the look we showed you, it was clearly in. Maybe working through some technical stuff here at the table.
An extra chance for these coaches to chat with their team. It's been back and forth all day long so far in these, especially in the first set.
After video review, call is confirmed, ball was in.
So Florida State will go down to 1 challenge unless we go to a 5th set. Each team will get an additional challenge. Stanford in control after dropping the first set. Harvey serves at Koenig. Thielen backside to Koenig. Ogilvy has to hustle. Free ball back to the Seminoles. Taylor Head pounding away at that block.
Florida State was patient on that last play, trying a few different hitters before going back to Taylor Head on the left, who's been successful all day long.
Florida State makes that double sub. Remember, they run a 6-2 offense, so there's always 3 attackers in the front row. The setter is always back row. Lauren Robertson will set now. This time ready for the dump by Minor. And they give it right back.
Billy Maua, what a play defensively, number 12 for Florida State. Makes a great read, knows that Cami Minor wants to be offensive. She's middle back and comes all the way up and reads that play for Florida State.
Such a scrappy all-around player. Remember, she wore the libero jersey a lot of this season, actually in 8 of the last 10 matches, as they try to work Emery Dupes back from that knee injury last season. Dupes the bump set to Taylor Head. Dug by Ogilvy. Sammy Francis on the slide.
Sammy Francis has been really good for Stanford offensively, elevates and just chisels off the block out of bounds, and that disallows, or is that the right word? Disallows the defensive player to run that down. Is that a word?
I think you just made that up.
I made it up.
Does not allow.
Does not allow, okay.
It sounds nice though. Sammy Francis, by the way, hitting 500 after that swing. Oh, Corey Lewis, that's what we're used to seeing from Corey Lewis, the Tallahassee native playing for her hometown team.
Florida State needs to do what they do best, and that's run their middle. Corey Lewis, we did not call her name enough. Look at the range, ba-boom from Lewis.
Committed to Florida State as an 8th grader. Back when you could do that.
Much more from the middle from both teams, and I'm liking that they're running the offense through the middles first. Both middles hit for high percentages, and that really helps clean things up on the outside and gives the hitters on the pins more room to attack.
Florida State trying to get their hitting percentage up, only hitting .217 in set 2. That will help from Taylor Head, her 9th kill.
Taylor Head's been unstoppable for Florida State.
She rotates back to serve. She's had 5 double-doubles in her last 7 matches. They're waiting to wipe up some moisture on the Stanford side of the court. We are in Florida. It was a little humid outside.
But it's cold in the gym.
It is cold in the gym. That's in.
How about Taylor Head dialing up a back line ace, trying to get her team back in the second set.
Stanford wants to talk about it. Well, this week on Monday Night Football, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are in Kansas City for our Week 9 matchup as Patrick Mahomes and the unbeaten Chiefs host Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. Game time, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN Deportes. Peyton and Eli will once again be on ESPN2.
I love Monday Night Football.
Do you like Peyton and Eli better? Are you watching the actual Monday Night Football broadcast?
I watch the actual Monday Night Football. I haven't actually watched Peyton and Eli.
Holly, you get your second screen out, pull up the ESPN app. You can watch both.
I can only manage one screen.
Yeah.
I'm of that generation.
Courtney Lau and Holly McPeak with you from Florida State. The Seminoles on a 5-2 run. Stanford has controlled most of this set after they dropped the first set 25-20, a set where Florida State, I mean, they clicked in every facet of the game.
Stanford's made some defensive adjustments, slowed down the offense of Florida State, but still Florida State's finding ways to score, and Taylor Head's been a big part of a lot of those points for Florida State.
When you look at the weapons for Stanford, Park Hurt and Elliott Rubin have gotten going.
Kurt finding ways to score. She's got a lot of tools. Used to playing against a big block. That time, just a fingertip with some hang time. Elia Rubin getting an open net play there, but watch this transition swing. Just crushes it cross court for Stanford off the dig. The block adjustment in the second set has been really important for Stanford.
Elia Rubin's got 3 blocks to her name, and Kurt with 2. Koenig has to hustle. Hinke wants a touch. They do get it. Touch called and point Florida State. This is something that Kevin Hambley could challenge, but not walking towards that green challenge card.
Well, he looked at his team first, and they didn't give him the feedback that he wanted.
Cami Minor with the dump.
Florida State needs to be aware of when Cami Minor's in the front row. Have a blocker in front of her, make her change directions, but right now, she's having her way on those free ball passes.
And she's so smart when she uses it. Not surprising, she goes to Stanford. Hinke. Blocked by Stanford, Lizzie Andrew.
Lizzie Andrew went to work one-on-one in the middle. Then she goes back, closes to Kurt. Her player pushes her the other direction, and then she goes to the right pin. 3 blocks for that Stanford point.
And Florida State calls timeout. Lizzie Andrew, a freshman, a true freshman, coming in, starting in the middle position. And we had talked to Kevin Hambley about them getting used to blocking a lot of the speed of the game. How different is that from high school?
It's completely different, especially because she didn't play high-level club volleyball, and that's where you get exposed to the quick speed. I think even if you do play high club volleyball, it does not allow you to prepare for this. So you have to learn on the court, and it's tough.
Well, the college basketball season tips off on Monday. The ACC Network has you covered with a triple header. The 6th-ranked Notre Dame women start things off at 5 Eastern as they take on Mercyhurst, followed by a men's doubleheader. Maine against number 7 Duke, and 9th-ranked UNC hosting Elon. You know, with basketball games starting, it means that we're getting closer to the selection show for volleyball, December 1st.
Right around the corner, Courtney.
Less than a month of regular season volleyball remaining.
And these teams know it. They are trying to gear up and get focused, get locked in. They want to be playing their best volleyball at the end of the season.
And Stanford, number 5 in the nation right now. Remember, if you are a top 4 seed in the tournament, you have the chance to host all the way through the round of 8. So something that every team is pushing towards. That selection show December 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Kurt chasing it. Take 2. And there's going to be a net violation on Lauren Robertson.
Pass a little tight to the net, and Robertson could not save it without touching that net. Stanford first 1 to 20 in the second set.
Cami Minor has gotten Stanford 5 points off of her 7 serves today. Corey Lewis with the roll, the pancake by Ogilvy. Stuck her hand right in the donut for a pancake, and I know that sounds ridiculous.
Number 9 for Ogilvy comes in from left back, pancake, pops it up, and then Elia Rubin steps up and sets up ball for the transition point.
Would you like a donut and a pancake and a donut?
Sounds good.
Yeah. The donut being the middle of the court. Corey Lewis, they let her swing on the right side that time. Long from Kurt.
Elia Rubin, number 13 in white for Stanford, playing really good defense in the backcourt.
Stanford needs 4 more points to win set 2. No time to even think about how to handle that ball from Jordan Harvey.
Cami Miner is one of the quickest centers in the country. She cannot get to that ball with her hands, puts up a juicy bump set inside, and then Jordan Harvey goes to work. She elevates and goes inside that left front defensive player. That's impressive.
And then they come back with the ace.
Stanford is known as a very aggressive serving team, and sometimes they make a lot of errors, but when their serve is on, they can create a lot of point opportunities.
2 aces today for Stanford, 4 for Florida State. Elia Rubin through the block, and Stanford has set point.
For Florida State, they need to shut down that sharp angle hit from Stanford's hitters, and that's the middle blocker's left hand needs to be pressed over.
Apar Kurt with the ace to take set 2. Stanford ending on an 8-1 run.
Incredible adjustments by Stanford in that sector yet.
Audrey Koenig into the Stanford block.
Stanford's done a better job pin to pin, shutting down the outside hitters. And if you're not running your middle, that middle blocker for Stanford can cheat out to the pin and do a better job closing.
That's already 8 team blocks for Stanford today. Backside to Henke. AK off the tape. Jordan Harvey. Koenig, a second swing. Cami Miner using Sammy Francis in the middle.
More Sammy Francis, please, for Stanford. She's such an offensive weapon. She's long, and she's one-on-one in the middle. That's a good number. You want that matchup. Even though Corey Lewis makes that move, still can't stop Sammy Francis in the angle.
Sammy Francis, her 3rd season playing in the middle. She was an outside as a freshman. Really sharp cut from Henke, but Miner all over it. And then Elia Rubin swiping off the block.
I love the strategy by Stanford. They're serving Audrey Koenig short. That takes away her approach, takes her out of the offense if she can't pop up quickly enough, and Florida State forced to go to other players, and Stanford's defense scoring in transition.
Ogilvy with a nice service run for Stanford to start set 3. Koenig steps in again to take it. And then Phelan with the dump, it's back over. Harvey's turn.
Center line violation for Florida State, and the scrappy defense for Stanford won that point.
Well, interesting, you saw Feely Malice slide in and take that ball away from her setter, Kenna Phelan. The second ball usually goes to the setter.
True, and you have to be aggressive. Stanford, quick start, 4-0 in this 3rd set.
Welcome to the Credit Karmaverse. Here, we monitor your finances and alert you to changes big and small so you can enjoy less stress and more peace of mind. Simply scan your screen to experience Intuit Credit Karma for yourself.
Donald Trump brags.
I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Kamala Harris will protect abortion rights.
30% of black men report being victims of police violence.
We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution.
You can't let Trump win another term.
Gifts that say I get you. Etsy has it.
Work out and perk out with the Planet Fitness Black Card. Join today for $1 down, $29.99 a month.
Give us the ballot.
Give us the ballot, my father once famously declared. Give us the ballot for our basic rights. We have the ballot, North Carolina. Let's show the world the change we can make together.
Get the education you deserve. A scholarship from Central Piedmont can help you conquer possibility.
Stanford picked up their intensity and their discipline in the blocking area, and it has paid off tremendously. Look at Cami Minor hang and swat that ball, being much more disciplined on the pins, and then Elia Rubin joins the block party, and Jordan Harvey closing that seam, and Stanford's block has really taken over.
I'd say so. Florida State early on here in set 3 hitting negative 167. Stanford had 5 blocks in that second set. Ogilvy, short serve, that's been working. And they adjust.
Hank able to rattle it through the Stanford block. That's a missed opportunity for Stanford. Hands were late, pressing over defensively.
Emery Dupes for Florida State. Elia Rubin passes and gets the swing.
Watch Cami Minor get on that 3-meter line and fire it out to Elia Rubin, who has an exclamation point at the end of that one.
Monster serve from Harvey.
Stanford's really stepped it up. They're popping the ball way more aggressive. Since after the first set, they've really turned it up, and you can see it creating all these point opportunities.
That's 4 aces now for Stanford. Backside to Koenig.
Audrey Koenig has been quiet, especially when they serve her short, because she hasn't been able to rebound and get an approach, but that time she didn't pass the ball. Good swing on the right side for Florida State.
She's got 5 kills, 4 blocks, 4 digs now. Going over. Corey Lewis watching and waiting.
Pass was a little bit tight, and Corey Lewis has the height advantage on that joust with Cami Minor.
Lauren Robertson behind the service line. Rubin almost automatic right now.
In jump set by Cami Minor, she elevates on that tight pass, and the middle blocker finally honoring her and staying with her, and then Elia Rubin has 1 block in front of her. Service pressure has been the huge difference as this match has progressed. Stanford really stepping it up, getting Florida State in trouble, and head coach Chris Poole told us that at break, we have to pass better.
Also, because they're not passing well, they can't get Corey Lewis, their middle, involved. Kurt blocked. Second chance is going to go through, and you heard Kevin Hamley say most of the time he's been really pleased with her decision making.
E. Parker gets blocked the first time, but hitter coverage gives her another chance to reset and work it through the block.
Kurt up to 9 kills, hitting .316. She's coming off a match where she led Stanford with 17 kills against Miami. Koenig, sharp angle, gets it done. That ends a 3-0 run.
Audrey Koenig is a beach player as well, and this is a cut shot from the right hand. Look at her hand wrap around it, top spin, side spin, taking it away from the defense on the other side of the net.
Where do you think playing beach helps her the most when she's playing indoor?
Hand contact, the way she reads the game really comes from eye work and watching people play. You have to defend the whole court on the beach. There's only 2 of you. So that's really helpful for the indoor game as well.
That is in from Taylor Yu.
Taylor Yu, the backup setter for Stanford, has come in and really been a spark this season. Watch her nail this ball flat and clean, barely any spin, and that just drops in on the back line.
Back-to-back points for Taylor Yu.
If you want to go far in the NCAA tournament, you have to serve aggressive. And when a team like Stanford serving like this, it really just crushes you. You can't run your offense. You become predictable. And obviously, Stanford's been able to run up a bunch of points today.
Ipar Kurt with the power, and Stanford hitting over 600 in this set.
What a change since the first set. We saw both teams hitting over 300, but now Stanford's really turned the table, and they're putting so much pressure on Florida State. Their numbers are way, way down.
The pressure at the service line has got to give them confidence for the other areas of the game, too.
It does, and it creates really easy point-scoring opportunities because they're scrambling on the other side of the net.
Corey Lewis, her first swing in a while. Back to Kurt. I mean, you just got to feed the hot hand right now, and it's Ipar Kurt.
Kevin Hambley talks to us all the time about decision making, and Ipar Kurt has been working on this all season long. Watch her get her feet to the ball and just aim flat off the hands. That is a really tough play to stop, and that's something she's really worked on this season.
Also, shout out to Cami Miner for the dolphin dive on that one to save it. Can't stop her. They do not have an answer.
Starts with the tough serve, followed up by really nice defense, and then Ipar Kurt on the end of it, taking some really nice transition swings for Stanford.
A 6-1 run right now for the Cardinal. And then the block.
Incredible. Stanford's dialed in right now. Another block. Lizzie Andrew and Ipar Kurt for Stanford.
Ipar Kurt just one of 3 Power Conference freshmen to average over 3 kills per set this season. She has 12 kills today, hitting .409. Free ball, back to the Cardinal. To the floor, Harvey. Everything is clicking for Stanford. It is 17-5.
Stanford has really picked it up. Watch Cami Meyer. The whole Florida State team is scrambling. There's no blocker on the left side, and Cami Meyer recognizes that, setting Jordan Harvey. Look out below. She crushes that.
You talk about serving tough. Stanford has 13 points off of 17 serves in this set.
This set has been special for Stanford. They have really elevated their service game, and it's paying off.
Well, as we get closer and closer to that selection show on December 1st, we're taking a look at what's going on around the country. Washington able to upset Oregon in 5 sets on Wednesday.
That's a tremendous rivalry. Oregon has been ranked very high all season, but Washington able to come in 5 and pull the big upset. And then Nebraska sweeping Wisconsin. Everybody was watching that match, but Nebraska's defense too much for Wisconsin. And Anna Spreck, one of the best offensive players in the country, hit negative numbers versus Nebraska.
Creighton continuing to have a nice season, but there were 2 big upsets on Friday night alone. One of them involving the Stanford team when they lost to Miami in 5 sets.
Miami's been really impressive. They played really high, and then they've had some losses they probably want back, but they were able to beat Texas early on, and then Stanford, and then the big upset, Missouri on the Texas home floor, able to win in 5.
Yeah, the first time that Missouri has won in Austin since 2002, and their first top 10 win since 2016. So remember, this is how the selection committee saw the top 16 reveal a couple of weeks ago and what those teams have done since then.
We're going to see Stanford drop after the last loss on Friday, and a couple other teams as well.
Do you feel like right now it's Pitt and Nebraska at the top, and then everyone else is trying to figure it out?
Pitt and Nebraska are the top 2 teams. I think Wisconsin has a lot of talent, but they just got swept on their own home floor by Nebraska. I think there's a lot of really dangerous teams, but it's just the consistency that's been really the big question mark.
All Stanford here in set number 3. They are hitting 643. Hit off the ceiling, but it stayed on Stanford's side, so it is playable, and they'll get a point off of it.
Stanford not used to playing it off the floor, but if it stays on their side, really nice reaction by Lizzie Andrew to get under that ball.
They had to adjust to that in their last match too against Miami. Kevin Hambley told us the ceiling was lower in Miami than it is here in Tully Gym. As long as it stays on your side of the net, it's good. It can't hit the ceiling and then go over.
Florida State trying to go super sharp inside the block, missing inside. What a turnaround for Stanford. Complete domination in this 3rd set.
Florida State hitting 059. And the teams trade service errors. Stanford needing 5 more points to take a 2-1 advantage in this match. Slam dunk, Sammy Francis.
Defensive transition, and then Sammy Francis one-on-one throws it down to that right back.
They can. It's a huge hole to climb out of right now. But if they can carry over something positive to the next set, that would be good.
Audrey Koenig passes this ball, makes herself available on the left pin, going deep corner for the kill.
7 kills for Koenig. All Stanford here in set number 3. And that continues with Elia Rubin. She's got 11.
Cami Minor is firing that ball out to the left pin. Watch the block for Florida State. They're chasing.
service error. Stanford 2 points away. They've had 4 service aces in this set and hitting 600. Corey Lewis with the swing in the middle. And she has 4 kills.
Corey Lewis is someone we talked about at the beginning of this match being really important for Florida State, and we've seen her get a couple attempts, but not enough in my opinion.
Yeah, Stanford has been able to take her out of the match with their tough serve because Florida State can't get the pass. Taylor Head still alive.
A little bit of a scary moment. Some contact maybe under the net. Cami Minor just thumbs up, she's okay. That ball set a little bit low to Corey Lewis in the middle, trying to get something going for Florida State. Ooh, Cami Minor actually landed on those. Maybe she's taped up.
Yeah, she says she's fine. And Lewis gave her a high five after the play to check on her. All Stanford in set number 3.
First time.
Big reason why Stanford won set 3 by such a large margin, 25-10. Florida State has to win this set to extend the match. And that swing long.
Taylor Head going for that deep cross-court angle. Looked like it just missed long. She was the hot player for Florida State. She was unstoppable in the first set.
And Chris Poole will challenge this.
I would love to take another look. I actually thought it might have been in. First time I saw it live.
Original call, ball out. Florida State challenging ball in.
Ooh, on the line is in.
On the line counts. Good challenge. Any part of the line, and it happened quickly. I would say it's in.
Yeah, I would say so.
After video review, ball was in. There was no net fault. We're going to reverse the call. Point Florida State. They retain their challenge.
Suzanne Lowry all over that call.
So Florida State will have 1 challenge remaining unless we go to a 5th set. Each team gets an additional challenge.
Florida State looking for any kind of momentum going in their direction. Volleyball is such a big game with momentum. If you can just win a challenge and create some point opportunities, you can get back in this match.
First lead for Florida State since it was 2-1 in the 2nd set. There's been 73 points since they led last. Oh, Harvey!
Jordan Harvey is electric. So fun to watch because she elevates and she's finding control over her offense, crushing it down that line. She didn't have a lot of room to clear that block, but the velocity on that ball was impressive.
Won a couple of state championships, not just in volleyball in high school, but also in basketball. Her dad was a basketball player at Utah. Her cousin was Aaron Gordon, who won an NBA championship with the Nuggets a couple of years ago. Ogilvy going short serve. Rubin, back corner, got there.
Love the short serve, very disruptive, created a point scoring opportunity, and then Elia Rubin, love that she recognized there's no player in the deep court and pushes it deep line. Impressive.
Elena Ogilvy, the libero for Stanford, got them off to a hot start with her serve in set number 3. The towels are getting a workout today, wiping this Terraflex up.
It's important to have a dry court. You do not want someone to slip and hurt themselves.
Down the line, Audrey Koenig.
When Florida State passes the ball, they can use their weapons like Corey Lewis, like Audrey Koenig. That time, backside on the right, number 4 able to score down the line.
8 kills for Koenig. Service error.
Florida State stacked all their hitters on the left side. Watch Feely Mallow run all the way across the court, or someone's going to run behind.
Taylor Head up to 11 kills to lead Florida State. She was quiet in set number 3.
Set number 2 and 3, we talked about her all of the first set, but Stanford was able to just dismantle Florida State in that third set.
Yeah, she had 5 kills in set number 1. Cami Miner, boom! They're gonna call a lift on Miner.
That is something that you cannot challenge. I personally disagree with it.
And a yellow card has been shown to Kevin Hambley. That is a warning.
Actually a red card.
And now a red card. So that is a point for the opponent. Keep in mind, if you get 2 red cards in the same set, that would be a disqualification for the coach.
The call was that Cami Miner held the ball too long on that throwdown, that dump play. In my opinion, it was fine, but that was the call. Looks the same as all the others.
Harvey out of the back row, it's long.
We haven't seen Jordan Harvey hit many Bic balls, any pipe down the middle. That one she just does not get on top of. Florida State with a little bit of momentum.
And Kevin Hambley talking to the down official, Suzanne Lowry, right now. It's a 4-0 run for Florida State.
Elia Rubin gets things going on the left side. Stanford down by 2.
That ball ricocheted up into the ceiling and went through a rafter.
A lot of heat on that ball from Elia Rubin.
She's leading all attackers in this match with 13 kills. Got some heat on her serve as well. Miner to Kurt. She still got it, carrying over what she built in set number 3.
A good setter makes her hitters look good. Obviously, these are very talented hitters for Stanford, but Cami Miner is putting that ball in a perfect location for Kurt to crush it.
Yeah, look at the percentages for both of her outside hitters. Elia Rubin hitting .440, Kurt hitting .346. Those are some nice numbers.
Incredible numbers offensively for your entire team, for an entire match to be hitting .394. That's amazing.
Meanwhile, Florida State hitting .239, but in this set, .750. Seminoles have to win this set to extend the match. Sammy Francis on the slide, and it's out.
Florida State has some life. Momentum on their side right now.
Just long for Kenna Phelan. Phelan, a player that Chris Poole has known her entire life. Phelan's mom actually played for Chris Poole at Arkansas, and she was an All-American.
His first All-American.
Pin keep. Elia Rubin laying out. Hinkie finally finding space in that block. What a rally.
Stanford made some incredible defensive plays, but Florida State had the answer in the end.
Kylene Filimala on the service line for the Noles. That puts E. Park-Kurt at 14 kills now.
Watch this ball in Cami Minor's hands. A little delay. Both blockers jump with her, and then one-on-one E. Park-Kurt on the left side.
Phelan just had to hustle to get there and couldn't get it high enough.
I like the idea, get the middle going in transition, but you have to work that connection with setter middle blocker.
Meanwhile, Cami Minor 11 points off of her 15 serves. Taylor Head back row. Kurt looking for high hands. Yes, there is a touch.
I saw that, but wow. I mean, Kurt is doing such an incredible job finding the fingertips, hitting it high and flat.
15 kills now, and it's a 3-0 run for Stanford to tie this thing up. If Stanford wins this set, they win the match. Koenig tooling.
Good things happen when you pass the ball, and Florida State able to go to AK, number 4 for Florida State on the left side for the kill.
Yeah, the pass, not something they could do very well in set number 3. Jordan Harvey, electric.
We have seen so many one-on-ones for Stanford today. It's been incredible, but Cami Minor holds on to the ball. It's just a little delay, and it really stresses the middle blocker on the other side of the net.
And especially when she's already burned them 3 times. 3 kills for Cami Minor, the setter. Block! Double-figure blocks now for Stanford for the 7th time.
And Elia Rubin, number 13 in white, is setting up that block on the left side. She's up, over, and there's no seam between she and Lizzie Andrew, the middle blocker for Stanford.
First lead for the Cardinals since it was 3-2. Taylor Head trying, denied. 11 team blocks.
Credit the freshman Lizzie Andrew, number 11 in white. She's gone side to side, left to right, gotten a block the last 2 plays for Stanford.
6-1 run for the Cardinal. Lauren Robertson back in the match to set and serve. Lizzie Andrew.
No one more fired up on the court than Cami Miner to get her freshman middle blocker a kill out of the middle.
Got to reward her after she's running back and forth on the block.
I agree 100%, Courtney. Anytime you can reward your middle blocker for all that defensive work they've done, it's a good thing.
3 kills, 8 blocks for Lizzie Andrew. It's a new season high. What a dig down the line by Miner. Taylor head, dug by Ogilvy. Koenig, little roll shot.
Extended rally, and Koenig able to get that ball to drop in the middle. Ogilvy was crashing the middle, almost got that ball up for Stanford. Audrey Koenig now with 10 kills on 21 attempts, hitting .333.
Coming back. Harvey. That was one-handed save by Koenig. It's over. Corey Lewis knew right where to put that ball.
Anna Pringle was everywhere on that play for Stanford, but heads-up play at the net. Let's watch it again. Starts with an incredible serve, overpass. Pringle sacrificing her body to keep it alive. And then look at that one-arm dig from AK for Florida State. And then bodies flying everywhere. Another open net play, and Lewis finds the corner open. Fun stuff.
Does it make you want to get out there, Holly?
It does.
Yeah. Elia Rubin.
Stanford's numbers offensively have been incredible, hitting .338 in this fourth set. Florida State's numbers are up, hitting .263. Trying to keep it close.
It's just a lot of court wiping.
A lot of sweaty bodies,
yeah.
Everyone working hard out here.
And scrappy rallies where both teams are flying around diving for the volleyball.
I love it.
Just long. Tied up for the 7th time, a must-win set for Florida State. Going over. Cami Miner waiting. Vilimala busting the block. And Florida State hits 15 points here in set 4. 15-14.
To still be playing against each other all these years later, it's been a lot of fun.
Every game was like his last game.
Every game was survival. It's fair to say there's a rivalry there.
Anytime you have two players of that caliber on the ice at the same time, it's another level of drama.
Ovechkin and Crosby, two of the all-time greats.
Holy mackerel, this guy's spectacular, superhuman.
Penguins Capitals, Friday at 7:30 on ESPN+.
Wait a minute, get it how you live it. 10 toes in when we standing on business. I'm a big step.
Doncic and Booker, two great players, so competitive. The legend of LeBron continues to grow.
This time is different. Suns, Mavs, Sixers, Lakers on ESPN.
And College basketball season tips off Monday with our second annual We Play women's event in Paris, France. Number 20 Ole Miss facing Juju Watkins at number 3 USC. Then over on ESPN2, number 17 Louisville takes on 5th-ranked UCLA.
Can we request some college volleyball in Paris next year?
Please.
Do you hear that, bosses?
Yes. As long as Holly and I can go. That should be the first request. An attacking error for Elia Rubin gives a 2-point lead here for Florida State. They have to win this set to extend the match.
On their defensive assignments and then able to go to Corey Lewis, number 8 for Florida State. Good things starting to happen.
A 4-0 run right now for the Seminoles. Much different after they lost 25-10 in set number 3. Audrey Koenig, we've called her name a few more times also here in set number 4. She's got 10 kills for the match.
Stanford put some tough service pressure on her early, but she's responded. Doing some good things on both pins, left and right. Look at her in the backcourt, one-arm dig to stay in that rally, and then a little roll shot to beat Stanford in the middle of the court.
Florida State hitting .333 here in set number 4. Audrey Koenig, a big part of that.
If you're Stanford, you do not want to lose the momentum and go into a 5th set where anything can happen. So now is the time, if you're Stanford, to take care of business. Obviously, if you're Florida State, they're playing well. They need to continue to play aggressive and loose and go for it.
Stanford, just on Friday night, 2 days ago, had multiple match points in the 4th set, couldn't close it out, and they lost in 5 to an unranked Miami team.
And that's why you don't want to let it get to a 5th set. Anything can happen.
Just something to note, Florida State, 4 of the last 5 times they've played a ranked team, it's gone to 5 sets.
They've been really close. They played Louisville in 5 sets. They've played a lot of the competition, pushed them to the limit, but haven't been able to push it over the edge.
4-0 run for the Noles. Taylor Head flying in to save it. Harvey sets up Elia Rubin off hands.
Elia Rubin, really nice decision to go flat off the outside hand of the blocker. A lot of times she loves to crush it and finish with a big hammer, but that time, really nice decision by number 13 in white.
She's a dig away from a double-double. Park Hurt gives her 17 kills. That matches her total against Miami on Friday. There's the service pressure we saw in set 3.
Elia Rubin putting all sorts of heat behind that serve, and I'll tell you, when that ball's coming fast at your chest, it's hard to get your platform on it.
Tied at 17, 8th time that we've been tied. Grazing the tape, dropping over Elia Rubin. Stanford back on top, a 4-0 run.
Rubin gets them deep with the floater, and that one clips the tape and drops.
Florida State's gonna call timeout. The Noles went on a 4-0 run. Stanford answering with a 4-0 run to retake the lead. The 2 left sides, Park Hurt, Elia Rubin. Double-figure kills and both hitting over 350.
We talk about the offense, but Elia Rubin also playing incredible defense in the backcourt there. She finds the corner open, great court awareness going hard through the seam, doing a fantastic job on the left side blocking, and then Park Hurt, who's been really working on her decision making, has used the entire court today for Stanford. A lot of flat, high ones off the block. And then look at that one-on-one sharp cross court for Park Hurt.
We were talking to Kevin Hambley about Elia Rubin before this match. She puts a lot of pressure on herself and feels like, you know, if she doesn't perform, the team isn't going to win. But I don't feel like she's been playing like she's pressing today. She looks free out there.
Elia Rubin does look free. She's making plays in the backcourt and managing her decision making. I think that's the key. Instead of trying to crush every ball, using all her tools, trying to slow the game down.
Stanford wins this set, they win the match. If Florida State wins, we're going 5.
With the kill. Good pass for Florida State, able to get Corey Lewis going again. Passing is crucial in a match like this.
A top 25 match here in Tallahassee. Tied at 18 in the 4th set. Service error. Lead back to Stanford, going to 25.
Number 18 for Florida State. Good decision, flat and high.
Park Hurt.
That ball served short, and it took the middle out of the play for Stanford. Park Hurt, we've said it all day long, but making really nice decisions when to crush it, when to use the block.
Stanford 5 points away from winning this match, but they've got Florida State right on their heels. Audrey Koenig. Kemi Minor going in the middle to Lizzie Andrew. Koenig down the line. Ogilvie, one arm save. It's a free ball back to Florida State. AK with the finish. Tied for the 11th time.
Incredible defense by Filimawa, number 12 for Florida State, to keep that ball alive on the 1 set to Lizzie Andrew in the middle.
A race to 25 points. You have to win by 2. Harvey with a tip. This time more power from Jordan Harvey. Thielen backside to Koenig. Taylor Head into the block. And that's going to be 4 contacts on Stanford. Kevin Hambley immediately pulling the challenge card.
What a rally on both sides of the net.
original call was for contact against Stanford, point Florida State. Stanford is challenging there were not 4 contacts.
One touch on Ipar, one arm. Looks like just 1, 2.
And the block does not count as a touch.
So Lizzie Andrew was close to Ipar Kurt on that second contact, but I don't think she touched it.
That first block touch does not count as one of the 3 contacts that you get. The original call was 4 contacts on Stanford.
Kevin Hambley knows how important this timing is.
Such an important point in this set, too. Florida State has to win this set to force a 5th set, a win for Stanford, and they win the match. Take you another look at it.
Ipar Kurt gets one up at the top, then she gets one there. I believe her arm was on top of Lizzie Andrews.
And that should be the first contact. Olivia's the second, and then Harvey's swing is the third. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, correct. But what I think the referee saw was maybe possibly an Ipar Kurt and Lizzie Andrew touch. I did not see that.
After review, there was no touch by the second Stanford defender. Replay. Point will be replayed.
Because there was a whistle to stop play, we will replay that point. Basically, call overturned.
So Stanford will get to keep its challenge. Again, going to 25, you have to win by 2. No question, that's a Stanford point.
Cami Miner went up and got that tight set. And I'll tell you, Jordan Harvey looked like she jumped about 10 inches higher. Yeah. She was elevated on the left side for Stanford on that kill.
She's one of 3 with double-figure kills today for Stanford. She has 11, hitting .409. Rubin, second swing. Phelan to head. And a miscommunication point for Florida State.
Hesitation in the middle because Cami Miner and Ogilvy both went for that first ball on the floor. Stanford, 3 hitters in the front row. Cami Miner's in the back.
Service error. I feel like when you hit this point, both teams over the 20-point mark, I mean, the pressure just elevates.
Every point is really crucial, and you want to make sure you're executing at the end of the set.
Dupes takes it. Elia Rubin just in. Stanford needs 2 more points.
Elia Rubin has done that twice in this match, and that is not an easy shot to locate. She sees there's no defender and catches the back line.
So Florida State will call a timeout. That'll be their final timeout of this set. Trailing by 2 in a must-win set for the Seminoles to extend the match to 5. I mean, it's so difficult. You look at Florida State, they're hitting .323 in this set, but Stanford's hitting .440.
Florida State made an incredible bounce back after a terrible third set, but they've been really good. They just have not had an answer to stop Stanford defensively.
Get hit percentages by set. Stanford, after that first set, wow, have things changed when it comes to the hit percentage for the Cardinal.
The blocking numbers went way up for Stanford, and then if you look at the third set, serving was off the charts and got Florida State in all sorts of trouble. But right now, Florida State's been hanging tight with Stanford in this set.
Stanford has 4 attackers hitting over 400.
Very impressive, and you got to credit Cami Minor. Obviously, the first contact's important. That helps Cami Minor run her offense, but really nice numbers for all the Stanford hitters. Stanford has been serving short in the area of Audrey Koenig, trying to interrupt her approach and take her out.
They do get a swing for Lewis. It's rejected. Here's Audrey Koenig. Elia Rubin, match point Stanford.
Anna Pringle came up with a huge dig for Stanford to set that up.
Twirling the block is Koenig. Second match point coming for Stanford.
Audrey Koenig keeping them alive, and she's got a really nice serve, just a little bit high air, so let's see what she can do here.
Harvey. Stanford with a ranked win on the road. In 4 sets, they take down Florida State.
And Stanford was pushed, right? Florida State, especially in the first and fourth